Hey there, it's Rashida Geddes, your coach and mentor, and welcome to Business Talks, the place to find tips and insight on creating a business career and life in Montreal on your own terms. The workplace culture, though evolving, has not changed when it comes to measuring success. The work hard, stay late, and always be available mentality has become the unsaid rule of how corporate execs promote employees. Burnout and stress leaves are becoming all the more prevalent in today's working environment, and people are realizing that work alone can't make them happy. Technology has helped make us more connected, but it has also made us constantly available. Emails, phones, instant messaging has become so normal that we have no idea how and when to turn it off. My guest today knows all too well how stress and burnout in the workplace can affect a business and your life. Sandra Reich is an expert when it comes to talking about stress management and how to live an empowered life. Take a look. Sandra Reich is the clinical director of the Montreal Centre for Anxiety and Depression and a sought-after leader in cognitive behavioral psychotherapy. She has been featured on the Discovery Health Channel, the Oprah Winfrey Network, and Bravo TV as a highly regarded expert on the topics of anxiety and depression. She's also a popular personality on Montreal's CJAD and has recently launched her own internet radio show, Straight Talk with Sandra Reich, on Voice America. She has led numerous conferences on self-love and empowerment for women wanting to become a better version of themselves. Sandra brings passion and confidence to all that she does and embodies the true essence of an empowered woman. In 2014, Sandra penned her first self-help book titled Once Upon a Time, How Cinderella Grew Up and Became a Happy, Empowered Woman, which instantly became a #1 bestseller on Amazon.com. Sandra is highly regarded in her industry and is a source of inspiration to women in Montreal looking to make their mark in a city doing what they love. I want to thank you so much, Sandra, for being with us today and really talking about this interesting and heavy topic. Stress and burnout.
It's a pleasure. Thank you for having me.
Thank you so much. Now, I know and I feel that stress and burnout, and I'm sure statistics will also show that it's on the rise. Why?
Big time. Well, I mean, our lives are just asking so much more of us than they did before. I mean, our work performance, we're asked more of that. I mean, go back to hunters and gatherers. The biggest responsibility of someone in those days was to go out, get some food, come back home, cook it up, and that was your day. Now let's look at our society. There's how far you can get ahead, and there's a rat race out there. So the pressures are enormous. Women are in the workforce more, men have a lot of responsibilities, we have kids, we have no end to keeping up with the Jones. So that alone is a lot of stress.
Of course. And how do you think it's affected the way our workplaces have evolved and the businesses in here in North America? What has it done to the workplace?
Well, I think the workplace is still catching up with it, and I think we're just now learning that we have to put strategies in because workplaces are losing a lot of money on burnouts and stress-related illness, which is very much on the rise. I think that workplaces also have a lot, they're trying to keep finances at a minimum, so we often have one person doing 3 or 4 jobs, which ultimately sounds effective, but it ends up being not very cost effective. So a lot of workplaces are now, they have no choice but introduce stress reduction programs into their workplace. And that's costing a lot of money for them too. So we sort of want to get people into good habits and workplaces into good habits in the first place. Companies like Google have all sorts of strategies like that. Yeah.
I think it's like the example of the company that is doing innovative things in terms of workplace environments and workplace cultures. But I also think that as individuals, we also have a part to play in figuring out when we're stressed and when we're on the verge of burnout. Is there such thing as a tipping point for stress? Is there a point where someone should say to themselves, you know what, now is the time that I need to take action? And what kind of action should they be taking? What type of steps or changes should they be making in order to be able to circumvent that type of situation?
That's such a good question, Rashida, because stress and burnout are not exactly the same thing. So I would imagine in your career as well as mine that you have stress. And stress is still making you very proactive and doing, and we'd want to work on reducing some stress in your life, having good habits, exercising, taking time for yourself. But as long as you're still very motivated about your job, you're not in a burnout. Burnout's the opposite. It's apathy. It's, I don't want to show up anymore. I have no desire to do this work anymore. So once you get to burnout, we're already in something that's very, very toxic. Also, our stress response in our body our body has the ability to have a stress response. I could be stressed sitting here, but my body will know what to do right when I'm finished. When you're in burnout, your body doesn't know what to do. It's not coming back. It's like the stress hormones are no longer flowing, and the response where your body comes back to homeostasis is not happening. So it's very serious. So when you start to answer your question, when you start to get to the point that you're starting to feel like, I don't want to get up in the morning, you're definitely past the tipping point. You need to seek help.
Okay. And what should that person be doing? Like you were mentioning before about seeking help. What is the next step for that type of individual? How do they bring themselves back into a state of equilibrium, a state of mind that's really healthy for them?
Well, it's funny. I think stress management has to be a responsibility of all of us. So what are stress management tools? They're very basic, actually. I mean, are you eating in the morning before you go to work? Are you taking breaks throughout the day? Are you checking in with yourself? How do I feel? What do I need? Are you exercising? The biggest one of all. I know all of us like to say we don't have time for exercise, but we really can't afford to not move our body if we want to release some stress. So if I've had a hard day, it would be the first thing that I will not feel like doing, but the first thing that I need to do. It'll make a tremendous effect on stress. And I got to take some responsibility in my life and not only put it on the external world, what am I doing to reduce my stress? And I think that we all have to have stress management techniques in our life.
So it's about figuring out what stress management techniques work for each one of us. Sometimes it might be meditation. For others, it might be yoga. And for others, it might be exercising and pounding it out in the gym. But it's about going to that place whenever you feel like you're in a moment of high stress. And if it's at a tipping point, to really get the expert advice and expert support that you need to be able to take you out of that slump. Right?
You have it exactly right, except I'd add one thing in, which is it's not once you feel the stress response, it's before.
It's before.
Okay, taking care of yourself is a daily job. You must do it. When I went to school to become a therapist specializing in anxiety and I learned the strategies, the first thought I had is, why is this only for anxious people?
Yes.
Why not have good stress management tools on a daily basis? Let's not forget adrenaline, which is what releases in your body when you're stressed, kills vital organs. I want to live a long life. So I want to do my meditation. I want to exercise. I don't need to get into a stressful state to want to take care of myself.
And I think that's so important because I myself as someone that likes to do meditation, that likes to do yoga, and I think that keeping that a part of a regular regimen for your day allows you not to get to that point.
100%.
Where you feel stressed and now you're trying to really pound it out and hope that it leaves itself in one moment. It's really about making sure that you take habitual and regular care of yourself, self-care of yourself.
You exactly have it. And that's what people sometimes forget. And women, by the way, in particular, tend to forget this. Men are much better at this than women, and we need to learn from them. They do their self-care on a more regular basis. They remember to watch their sports, to do the things that relax them. And women feel we have to go, go, go. That it's not a rule across the board, but it tends to be the case.
And what could workplaces be doing differently to be able to help bring down this rising trend?
Well, we know that social interaction is a very big factor. So where I work and perhaps where you work, we do encourage social interactions, be it at a break, be it at, we have a little party or a little get together. That really helps. Example, a lot of workplaces now have gyms. And I mean, wouldn't it be wonderful to even incorporate your idea of meditation, a 5-minute meditation at the beginning of the day? You need to give people a locus of control, because where people start to go into a burnout is when they feel they have no control over their lives at all. So if you can give someone, just like anyone else, choices, like you can work these hours or maybe you can make up the time later, that helps people a lot, and it really helps the workplace. So I run a business. I want people to be happy when they show up at work.
Of course. And I think that that's great in terms of what you're talking about, and for us to be able to go into what you've just recently done in 2014 is write your own first book, and that's an amazing feat in and of itself. Now the book is called...
And a stressful one, by the way.
And a stressful one, I'm pretty sure. Once Upon a Time, How Cinderella Grew Up and Became a Happy, Empowered Woman. Wow. That's like a big statement in and of itself.
Yes.
And one of the first chapters that you talk about is the victim mindset and about women putting themselves into that victim mindset. Can we talk about that a little bit more? What's that about, and how can we kind of change that?
Well, the book was inspired by the fact that I see a lot of women in my office. They're gorgeous, brilliant, top of their game, and they're falling apart.
Of course.
So I couldn't figure out what was going on. And I am a woman, and I also saw a little bit the areas where I fell into the traps. So the 3 traps that women tend to fall into is, as you mentioned, victimization, martyrdom, which is self-sacrificing, or taking care of others at the expense of yourself. So you're asking about victimization. The problem with victimization is that if you sort of see yourself as a victim of life, work, your boyfriend, whatever, then you're going to attract people into your life that are going to prove you right.
Yes.
So your workplace or your boyfriend are going to become a perpetrator, because every victim needs a perpetrator. So we have to start by being truthful to ourselves. Are we really victims? As humans and as adults, we have choice. We don't have to work at a certain place. We have the option to go elsewhere. We don't have to stay with people we're not happy with. So we have to look at that, because if we don't look at choice, we are choosing to be a victim. And that is a sure way to spiral down into at least a depression, if not a burnout, if not worse.
And I think it's so important, because the victim mindset is really a mindset.
It is.
And it's something that can be changed, and it's something that can be changed as a result of habitual, again, about doing things differently and about perceiving things differently as well. Sometimes we might take a situation and frame it in one light, but that's only one version of the truth. And being able to see that situation at a different version or someone else's perspective allows you to open up and say, you know what? I do have a choice here. I have a choice whether or not I should respond or not respond, and how I react to this situation. That allows me to be able to be that happy, empowered woman.
Oh, you really have it. Either you've been reading it or you had it all along. I'm not sure, but
combination of the two.
It's amazing, because the thing is that we have the power to choose our lives, and it's very easy to fall into victim. And I challenge anyone to say they never have, because we all have.
Of course.
But the thing is, we can have the occasional pity party, and I've had a few myself in my life. But like you said, we have the choice to change the mindset. So you got to look at, if you're staying a victim, why are you staying a victim? Because you're getting some sort of payoff. Staying a victim does have payoffs. You get a lot of attention. People feel sorry for you, but you're also stuck in your life. You cannot move forward. So yes, people have the potential to learn. The question is, why do they sometimes not move out of victim? What's in it for them? And that's where getting people to be honest about that is really the first step, because staying a victim can be very seductive, but again, leads to nothing but problems.
Of course. And I think you also mentioned in the part of your book about the survivors and people thinking about that there's no pain, no gain, that no pain, no gain mantra, and the fact that they have to struggle and they have to survive in their workplace, and that's a part of life, and it's normal to do that. Why is that so far from the truth? Why is it not normal to feel like you're struggling, or that you're suffering, or that you're in a suffering place in your work or in your life?
Well, there's more than one answer there, because first of all, burnout, coming back to your previous discussion, burnout and stress is also definitely linked with type A personalities and perfectionists,
yes,
who are the movers and shakers of the world, by the way. They do very well. You want your brain surgeon to be a perfectionist, for sure. But perfectionism in itself is a problem. So first of all, it's how hard you drive the car. And second of all, you're flirting around with the topic of martyrdom,
yes,
which is, if I work super hard, people will notice how I've sacrificed my life, and they'll then think I'm such a good person. And this is another game people play, and not a good game at that. So no, actually, people are, instead of getting people to pay more attention to you and see how wonderful you are, they're actually not going to pay attention to you. They're going to figure you're so fine, you don't need anything. And then you see people spiral down again, feeling very sorry for themselves. I always say I've never met a happy martyr, and I always say to people, I challenge you to tell me if you've ever met a happy martyr in your life, because I haven't.
Yeah. So, and I also think it's about speaking up.
Yeah.
Being able to speak up for yourself, because thinking to yourself, well, you know what, I'm going to suffer here in silence, and for sure someone's going to notice me. Someone's going to feel sorry for me, and someone's going to come and help me, and that's a once upon a time. That doesn't exist.
It's a fairy tale.
The person that's going to help you is you, and you have to speak up for yourself and be as vocal as possible and say, hey, listen, this is not working out for me. This is not going conducive to my energy, and we need to figure out something, a strategy or whatever it might be to change it. And I think that that's the same thing that we need to take into our workplaces, into our businesses, into our lives.
I think that's so well said. Again, is I think that there's nothing wrong to going to a boss or to a supervisor and saying, I'm having a problem here. Can we talk about another solution? But you're right. People internalize. They turn the boss into the perpetrator. They feel sorry for themselves. They wait to be rescued. It's not going to happen. And I don't think there's anything disrespectful about saying to someone, look, can we find another solution? I have a problem. As a matter of fact, as a boss, what I really appreciate is that directness. What I don't appreciate is sort of the indirect, somewhat passive-aggressive behaviors that will start if you're not speaking your truth. Because again, as humans, we're not designed to self-sacrifice. We're designed to take care of ourselves. Oxygen mask on yourself first is the surest way to not have a stress problem.
That's it. I tell everyone that all the time.
Yeah,
Make sure that you
on
put
that
that oxygen mask on yourself first. Exactly.
Yeah, we have to do it on the plane. Why not in our lives?
Exactly.
Yeah.
And you also mentioned in the book moms. And there's a part where you talk about moms and the pressure that moms feel, to the career moms on top of that. Not only the pressure that we feel from other moms, but the pressure that we also feel from men. So what is that about? What's that pressure, and how can women circumvent it? How can the workplace also support women so that that pressure isn't something that's felt on a day-to-day basis?
Well, I think the first thing you brought up was key, because I think women, we really need to see each other as sisters and help each other, because we're all in the same thing together. But because the world can be so critical of women, women then take that, it's almost like human nature, and they put it on each other. So the stay-home mother gets criticized for not working, the working mother gets criticized for not being home enough with their child. And I think that really, really hurts women. So then when we bring it into the workforce, instead of the women sort of working together to get what they need in the workforce, they're turning on each other. And that is not going to get women where they need to go. And this is really another reason why I wrote the book, and why I'm very interested in women, is I think as women, we have to have some solidarity. We have a shared experience raising kids, being career women. And I think that women and men are different. And I think, as I said to you before we started the interview, when the school calls, no matter how busy I am, they don't call my husband, they call me. And that's true for all women.
Of course.
So we need to help each other and be there. And I love what you're doing, because I think that you're very passionate about that, about having women be there for each other. I know that's the first conversation we had together.
This is it.
Yeah.
Last question for you, the Reich equation. How can we achieve it? What's one thing we can do to achieve that? Tell our audience about it and tell us how we can achieve it.
Well, I really came up with that because I really believe that everything in your life is a reflection of you. So therefore, the love outside of you is directly proportionate to the love you give yourself. So women say to me, why do I keep meeting these horrible guys? But then they treat themselves very poorly. You cannot bring to your life, career-wise or romantically, anything more than what you give yourself. So if I treat myself like a piece of dirt on the ground, that's what I'm getting. And if I treat myself like I'm important, that's what I'm getting. So I do love the equation, because I think it tells you that if you want great things in your life, romantically, business-wise, it starts with how you treat yourself looking in the mirror. So that's the Reich equation right there. Thank
you so much for sharing that. Tell people how they can buy your book. Tell people where they can go to find more information about you and the great things that you're doing in the community.
Thank you so much. They can go on the website, which is helpforanxietydepression.com. They can call us at 514-777-4530. Or for the book information, it's on www.empoweredwomenworkshops.com. And I think those are the best ways to reach us. It's also available on Amazon.com.
Great. Thank you so much, Sandra, for being with us today.
Thank you, Rashida. It was a pleasure.
Great.
Okay.
My interview with Sandra today really left me with two powerful takeaways. The first is, treat yourself the way you want others to treat you. Model the life that you want from others for yourself first, and that means taking care of your self-care and also giving yourself some self-love. The second takeaway is that there's no reward in being the victim. You have to speak up for yourself, whether that is in the workplace, whether that is in your business, or in your life. You have to know when things aren't right for you, things are not right for the world, and to speak up about that. I want to thank you all for watching today, and I also want to thank my guest Sandra for being with us and giving us such amazing advice. Are you looking to create a business, career, and life on your own terms? Do you want to figure out how you can leverage your strengths to transform your life? Visit RashidaGeddes.com to learn more about how I can help you and your business. Empower, mentor, lead, and never stop learning. Bye for now.